Yo, yo, yo. Alright. Let's get going on this. Check out all of the different works done by Van Gogh. What up, Maya? Oh, hush, Matisse. Classic. He made so many in the 10 years that he was painting. I might stop at a couple. Got a little bit of a hoarse voice at the moment. But I'm mad. Good evening, Noah. Some of these paintings and drawings might shock you. You'll look at it and be like, that's a Van Gogh? No freaking way. How y'all doing? Not all too educational. I don't want to go into too much detail about the different paintings. I'd rather just have them kind of play, maybe stop every now and again at some of the ones that are more exciting. Like, look at that one. You look at that, you wouldn't expect. I mean, the colors, they're so muted. It's so minimal. It has this one bird kind of going into the distance. What up, Dom? And like, the composition is so balanced. You don't usually see that in Van Gogh's work. It seems it's so hectic, but there's this minimal quality to, how lateral everything is, and just right in the center, this small little bird just lifting up. It's beautiful. No, I've lost my voice a bit, but it's mostly from yelling. I'm not sick. At least I don't feel like it.
Brooks,
Yes.
Are you home tonight?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, I'm leaving my keys.
Okay. Are you going? Can you leave the clicker on? Hang it up on the keys, right?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. What up, James? See, that's more of a composition you would expect from Van Gogh. Just the way he approached things, the narratives that he's telling. Yeah, I lost my voice a wee little bit. I have seen them in person. Not all of them, obviously, but a lot of them. Like, oh, I love the colors in this. It's all in that sort of muted green, but there's so many different kinds of greens, more than you even realize. I need to put more dope painting up around my house. What do you recommend painting, Brooks? Get a painting from me. Also, it's about time that I add you back as a mod. There you go. Classic wheat field with crows. I love the way he painted trees. So much movement. The stream with Jerry was good. No, Matt. There is the Getty has like one decent Van Gogh. I mean, all Van Goghs are good, but as far look at this one, it's so crazy. You're not expect it. Yeah, no, I think that just in general, it's that time of the year things are getting. For me, really, what it is the air is getting so much drier, and I've just been smoking so much vape. Exactly, it's the gator style. I'm slowly turning into a gator. Oh, I love that one. Hell yeah, dude. It's a good video. Like, look at this. Like, some of them are so minimal and dreary. Just the color scheme is not nearly what you'd expect. And most of these paintings he would just do in a day, one sitting. So immediate. Van Gogh is Dutch, and so if you look at some of his, you're right, I need to drink water, but you got mysterious liquid. Who needs water when you have mysterious liquid? No, let me grab my water. Yeah, I should get the refillable kind, but I haven't. I'll get on it. Good advice, Jordy. Don't make me take your mod away, Colton. So, like, if you look at the color scheme Van Gogh used early on before he really started to have that vibrant palette, you can see he was inspired by some of the Dutch Flemish painters and their color schemes, very muted. I love this one. Van Gogh was just the five spray. Van Gogh was just so bold, you know. He was boldly treading into unknown territory, you know. Him and Gauguin and other people operating within the avant-garde of the post-impressionist and early modernist movement. They were basically, you know, paving the way, doing like, controversial shit that the impressionists like Monet and you know, Renoir would look at and be like, "What the fuck is this?" You know, there was no place for it yet. They were making a place for it. I feel like Van Gogh so legendarily was known by all other painters like of acclaim during his time, but he just never experienced popular appeal. Oh, beautiful. I love that one. That there is actually one in the later years of Van Gogh's life. This is his doctor, and he would paint it as doctor. He would come in, really therapist. His brother had sent in. His brother Theo was a huge supporter of him. Basically kept him alive. Look at that one there. The weird cross hatch marks at the bottom. Some of these images aren't super high quality. Van Gogh, more like Van No, because he's so damn, dude. Yeah, look at that painting, so terrible. That's amazing. Base Richard Nixon, you are literally. I'm taking your mod away for silencing. You got it back and you lost it so soon, dude. What have I told you about censoring people in my chat, dude? Now you have to wait till next stream. Oh, you didn't mean to do it. Okay. I believe you. I'm going to add you as mod again. Oh my gosh, this one. If you look, what's interesting about this painting is Van Gogh really, you see his color schemes. They were all very inspired. Oh yeah, I would love to do Jean-Michel Basquiat, like a look at his full works. So Van Gogh, later on, when he lived in Arles, he began to become very inspired. He always wanted to go to Japan, and you see here he would get a lot of imported Japanese woodblock prints, and the colors and flatness and intensity, stark quality compositions. He has them here. He's painted them into the background. You can see Mount Fuji. You can see some geishas. And honestly, this is kind of beautiful because it goes to show like what brought him to the place that he was in his later career. Don't worry, he's free. He's modded. The green and just the slightest hint of that red in the roses. Beautiful. Yeah, just the soft quality, everything. And oftentimes when you see Van Gogh paintings and there's a lot of different people in them, you know, it's always telling a story. And, you know, who's this right here? There's always sort of like one forlorn person, like, experiencing some sort of existential dread in one of them, too. Look at that. There he is, the one person experiencing existential dread. I'm telling you. What up, Anthony? Good day, SSS bots. Oh yes, once again, one of his earlier works, very inspired by early Dutch paintings. Now this one's pretty bad. No, it's not. There's no such thing as a bad Van Gogh, but I mean, sloppy. Come on. Oh shit, that's crazy. Five Sprite, I didn't know that. Look at these goddamn fish. Ah, just so much paint. I'm like, oh, what's up? What's up with like like some of the things that are happening? Like, you see, there's these birds, or what appears to be birds, taking place. Like, and such a like, this person. It doesn't look like existential dread, but these birds here, these are the existential dread. Honestly, like, they should be like, take it and drag it, put it up here. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, I guess it could be taken off from like down there, but the angle, I don't know, man. I don't know why I'm deconstructing the angle of birds on a Van Gogh right now. They're all great. He does know. Oh, some of these images are so blown out and terrible. But it's a full collection of them, so. Dude, oh yes. So this is when Van Gogh spent his time in the insane asylum. What they would do inside of the courtyard is during the day to get them exercise, they would all be bound up and have to walk around in a circle just for like an hour. Just that was how they got their exercise. Like, how depressing is that? I would love some Pokemon cards illustrated by Van Gogh. That'd be sick. The infamous potato eaters. This is beautiful. You don't oftentimes see Van Gogh do too much architecture. It's like the perspective is handled rather sloppily, but there's something about the like direct, just looking and feeling and putting out exactly what he saw. He didn't measure things out. He didn't care too much about perspective. It feels so immediate. And then, of course, we have this man over here experiencing existential dread. Oh, the surface. So this woman here is actually the barkeep who was a muse as well as having sex with Gauguin, and she wasn't really a prostitute, but the myth goes that he cut off his ear and gave it to a prostitute. But this is the woman, the barkeep in Arles, that he gave his ear to, the ear to. So she sat for a painting. Not the most attractive, but, an interesting double chin sort of thing going on. Have you ever tried painting at different focal lengths and lens sizes? I don't know what you mean by that, Five Sprite. See, happy woman, existential dread. Inspiration, aspiration. No. Art, people that I can't balance being an adjunct or attempting to get tenure at any sort of art college or go into academia and be able to be the greatest painter I can be. I need to focus on my own career. So this is the painting that's in LA of the lilies and in the Getty. It's nice, but it's kind of like the prize jewel of their collection. She's a Dutch 8. Oh, I love this one. It's really that leaf. I feel like it kind of becomes the focal point. Perhaps, S-bots. When will you find out what the secret drink is? I don't know. Oh, God, that one's so good. That was a lot. Oh, so good. Man, this whole this it just in general, some existential dread. Look at that shadow. Jeez, man, heavy dread. Van Gogh ordered a pink meanie, dude. I wish I could get back to my pink meanies. I got to at some point. I wonder if there's a blender here. I don't even know. This is a legendary painting, sunflowers. This one is at MoMA, I believe, in New York. The movie is on. Good to have on my vision. Hell yeah, 9 Cobb. And look at, like, there's so many different things going on, and there's this one little girl right here, right in the forefront, like. And you can even see the way that he's looking, you know, like there's this girl crying and you can see that he's looking down at her. Whereas his perspective shifts, his perspective shifts as he looks forward and sees this man walking. Whereas the little girl who comes up, even though spatially it doesn't make sense, it's the perspective and the way that he's like immediately putting the impression of what he's seen into the piece that makes it happen like that. Yeah, I mean, look at this one. This is goddamn like borderline abstract, you know? Like, this is like amazing. Big facts, organ flow. Maybe deep down he was. What city has the best inspiration for a modern oil painter? Well, I guess it all depends on what inspires you. I mean, people are inspired by different things, you know? Like, for instance, I'm inspired by people that are unique and wild and crazy and interesting. And LA is the place for that. As a portrait painter, it's the perfect place. Matisse, see, me yelling at Matisse is what made me lose my voice, honestly. See his early work where he's inspired by the Flemish painters. He's trying to do this like old Dutch thing. And with the color scheme and the approach, it's just he's just not that good at it, and that's the main issue. Oh, and see some of the images you'll see are in black and white, because the paintings have been destroyed or aren't available to have been taken in color. For instance, like sometimes something will have burned down or the piece will have been lost or stolen before being photographed in color. Look at this odalisque here. I'm not even familiar with this piece, actually. Great ass, though. Great ass. Look at that highlight. Oh, there's olive trees? What are they picking? I don't even know what kind of tree that is. Maybe olive tree. Indeed, inside Louis Martel. I can't even yell at Matisse because that's what really broke my voice before. That and the... Man, this one. See, I said before, like Van Gogh seldom does architecture, and so when you see like this composition, how it starts, the sky is this lighter green, that then begins to shift to its tertiary like purple here, and then you have this oblong composition. The trees are pulling you down, and then it all sort of like it has this weight and gravity to it by the parallel created between the architecture of this building and the mounds of dirt where the trees are resting. It's all pulled together so masterfully and just done without him even like really questioning why he's doing it. Just he just did it. That piece of it reminds me of a girl flashed out. What up, Damien? See, look at in the pieces, the very minimal, because there's several of these that he's done. They're very minimal, like laterally composition. Like there's hardly anything happening in them whatsoever. I think what's so interesting about this piece is that your eyes want to escape out here, but he has this tiny little hint of tree coming in right here, which is kind of keeping your gaze from bouncing out entirely. And then of course it kind of creates this receiving diagonal with whatever's happening right here. I mean, I want to say that's like someone bathing, like a nude person swimming, but I'm not even sure. I mean, it's something. All right, then this is one of the moments when he just straight up ran out of blue. You can just tell he ran out. He was like, "All right, Theo," his brother who basically paid for all his life. He's like, "I need more blue." That is true inside Lil Martell. The paintings like this is just really all about like the movement. It's like it has this like abstract, so much is happening and it's all kind of just repetition of the same thing, so that there's no true like composition taking place, since it's kind of just like all one main movement, but then subtle things start to stand out. Like, look how over here now you see how these marks have more of a diagonal sort of quality to them as compared to all of the more dandelion, like softer edges. And then you'll begin to notice certain areas will be darker, like here. And for instance, look at the edges on these lines here. So you really begin to hone in on specific nuances that you wouldn't otherwise in some of his more busy works. Van Gogh spoke 4 languages, actually. He was very well read, highly intelligent, but he was Dutch, so that was his first language. Oh, true, fly fishing, that could be true. Someone floating on their back, indeed. Well, I have no idea what the fuck this is. This is terrifying. I've never seen this one before, but it's kind of amazing. Look at that existential dread. And what is that? Is that Beehive? Another one of the paintings that was never been able to be photographed in color. Yeah, dude, always love for Jerry. Look at that wobbly tree. Yes, inside Lil Martell. I've been in those places, it's true. What is this? Like some sort of Slender Man situation taking place back here with this woman? And then like the more you look, the more you notice, like you see over here, there's these 3 men. Or, I mean, you would assume them to be men because the hats that they're wearing. And so there's this woman, and now I'm noticing it's a park bench. She's sitting here all alone on this park bench, experiencing existential dread alone. And then you have these 3 men over here, which are clearly, like, it looks like they're whispering and talking about her. Or at least you kind of create that connection. You want to unconsciously create that narrative. and like just work and more of this, just it's so like abstract, but it's there. He's looking at something, but he's creating these minimal abstract works. It's remarkable, really. No one else was doing this at the time. People would have looked at this, and like the French again, like, basically, even in the avant-garde, the people would have looked at this and been like, "What is this mess? There's nothing happening." But now we look at this, and when people make contemporary art, that's literally this. Like this is contemporary. Terrible image. A little French flag. Those shoes. And that's an interesting one. Look at I mean, I don't think this is a very good image quality, but just the shapes, the flatness, and like interesting quality. Like these are leaves, obviously, but the way that he approached painting them in such a like childish way, just capturing the shape itself and not really allowing himself to be bothered by anything else. Oh, I love this freaking. He did this baby painting. So good. This is nice. Got some crabs here. I don't think I've seen this one, or I can't recall it. Yes, what I find so interesting about Van Gogh's strokes in particular, one of the things that moves me so much, like standing in front of a real Van Gogh, is unlike the old masters and who hid all of their marks, and the impressionists who did so many marks that they kind of like blurred what was actually there. Van Gogh, every mark that he made was like a moment in his life, was like a piece of his 10-year career. So every stroke, every movement, every gesture was like completely like, it's like a time capsule. It captures that moment, that stroke that he did. He was leaving these strokes behind for us without even realizing. Yes, I wish these were in order, S-bats. Unfortunately, they're not. It's an interesting landscape. Look at that existential dread. I'm going to keep saying that. See, like, yeah, if we had things in order, you would see some of his, just like the progression of his colors. Yes, the Potato Eaters is kind of his iconic early career. It's so interesting. Like he only had a 10-year career, but you look at like Potato Eaters, it kind of captured that Flemish like color palette, like that old Dutch masters that he was trying to emulate. And it was actually his brother Theo, who's an art dealer, who kind of told him, he was like, "All right, man, you need to get with the times. Like, look at the work being made by Seurat. Look at the work made by Henri Toulouse-Lautrec, by Gauguin. Like, they're using these bright, brilliant colors. That was what was like the avant-garde. That was what was hot in Paris, and so he became very affected by that. Do these paintings give me boners? No. No. Ooh, that one did actually. No, I do have a bit of a boner now. I would marry Van Gogh for sure. Look at that freaking last glint of like light there. Ugh. And this one's rare. He didn't do too much religious stuff. You know, he came from a family of his father was a Protestant minister. No, we got a repeater. Or no, that was a different painting. The same sitting though. Yeah, no, it's true. He did sort of have that trippy approach to things. I mean, he was mentally unstable for sure, and did partake in the occasional absinthe, which contained wormwood and had lead paint as part of his diet. What up, Gumpy? And the red. See, I feel like this in particular, this red that like pushes forward in that way, I feel like this might have even been inspired by Gauguin, his good friend, and questionably, arguably, definitely the reason that his ear was cut off. Yes, Night Cafe is amazing, Jed. I tried painting on psychedelics one time, Dom, and I could not do it. I hated it. It was terrible. I think some of his portraits were actually incredible, but most of the time, yeah, his portraits, like, they would certainly capture like the essence of the person and my or how he viewed them to be, which is beautiful. But did it look like them? Maybe not so much. If you look at the portrait he did, for instance, which will probably be coming up, of his postman in Arles. You'll notice like that one is good. That's a great portrait, but a lot of them are very wonky and strange. And look, you see the sort of pointillism that he's got going on. See, Van Gogh was he would often visit the studios of his contemporaries in his time spent in Paris, and Seurat was one of the people who inspired him. And so in particular, you can see Seurat's influence on this piece and how he's approaching this his attempt at pointillism. It's very it's like dabbing. He's like, he doesn't have as much grace, but it's the same idea, just kind of done in a Van Gogh way. See, like, yeah, maybe not the strongest portrait, but still, it's a good painting. No, my voice is kind of shot from yelling at Matisse, unfortunately, and smoking too many vapes. Probably not being hydrated, a lot of other things too, but unfortunately, I shall not be singing this stream. Just a light chat with you guys. Wow, look at this. Like I was saying before, he seldom did architecture, and when he did, his perspective was, it was all sort of out of whack. But really, I love this teal sort of like this turquoise color. And what he's doing here with these arches is they create a sort of pattern. And then compositionally, it was very deliberate what he did placing this fountain here, because the way that these curve, they echo this fountain in a way that if the fountain was placed even in the direct like middle and these were off to the side, the composition wouldn't be nearly as strong. Yes. Like, what's up with like this little weird green boy who has King Croc's hand for some reason? Like, where? And so you'll notice I'm talking like about his portraits. Like, a lot of them aren't like the highest of quality, but there is one in particular of his postman that I'm sure it'll come up, and I just want to show that I feel like that's the strongest portrait he ever did. And I believe it was on exhibition at the Musée d'Orsay in Paris when I saw it, but I've been to so many art museums, sometimes things get a little bit jumbled up. King Croc will make his triumphant return in time. Look at this mother frickin' floppy boot. Like, a lot of people didn't really like Van Gogh, so you see like everyone looks weird and wonky and like in the constant state of like movement, or like the anatomy is wrong. It's because people didn't really sit for him. He wasn't able to like have someone sit really like very often. You know, he painted people around him and, you know, tried to capture like the feeling of what they were, like the immediacy of, but they weren't standing still for him, you know. So if you see kind of all the mess up, the perspective and anatomy, like how the legs appeared like crossed over in a weird way, it's really because he's painting something that he saw and trying to capture that, but he only has what is in his mind to go from. But it kind of becomes beautiful in that way. Indeed, Kayla, indeed. Yeah, he got the big pimp walk. Damn, look at that existential dread. Oh, I love this. And this is really, it's paintings like this that you can really see the influence of Japanese woodblock prints. You know, Hokusai, who actually, I just got a little patch, and others really start to influence these paintings. Hell yeah, Chrissy, that's sick. Basically, just stick around, and like once I get to know you, it'll come, I'm sure. Like at some point. I know chat is blue, but we got a lot of people not speaking up in here, just chilling, vibing, looking at art, learning. Man, this is beautiful. Hell yeah, guitar wear. Hell yeah, Viceroy, that's sick. Yes, dude, the lurkers are always welcome here. Love them. See, now you have this. See, in a lot of the times, especially in still lifes, you'll notice that Van Gogh, he'll create like characters, even though it's not a person. This plant standing off here to the side, we got all these books that in their own way become people, part of this narrative, like a crowd. And then this one dark flower here and it almost even has a face. It becomes a character in itself. And of course, the flower is, as you might imagine, experiencing that existential dread. No, Van Gogh was not a virgin. In fact, he dated a prostitute for quite some time. And she was his muse, Syl. Yeah, I really do wish these were in order. That would be great. We love a good existential dread. Like, look at this one here. And you know what? I imagine that this was actually painted. I bet he looked at like another painting or like a print or something when he did this. Like, there's no way that this was taking place anywhere. Like, even the hat, like the sort of Turkish garb. There's no way Van Gogh was ever anywhere where this was painted. And then you have this existential dread character out here, a little chest for some reason. Makes no sense, but you gotta love it. Dude, Van Gogh's poggers at all days. Another painting of his doctor. He did many. His doctor would just sit there. Yeah, you should become a painter organ once you flow. It's really easy. You just take a brush, you put something on it, and put it on something else, and then you'd be like, I'm a painter, and you're a fucking painter. It's pretty chill. Yeah, Van Gogh loves a little Easter egg. Van Gogh's art and life and suffering, it was all... Yeah, his life was art. Much like Mozart, he created work with such Gestalt. One of my favorite German words, which just means like you look at something and it has an immediacy where everything comes together and it just makes sense. There could be so much happening, but it's balanced. You look at it and you're like, that is right. And that's really what he did, just so naturally. His work almost always has this gestalt to it. And I'd say that in a weird way, even though the fact that he only worked for 10 years, he created such profound work. And like Mozart. I love listening to Mozart, who also had a short-lived career, but he made this like amazing body of work. And same with Basquiat, where the volume that they created in such a short amount of time, it just adds a whole like weight to it. It just becomes so much more important for some reason, as compared to Picasso, who like the market is completely flooded with the like tens of thousands of pieces that he's created. Like, you could probably go into someone's house and they have a slightly wealthy person. They might have like a silver point, or even a Picasso drawing. He used to pay his tabs at different restaurants by just drawing on napkins and giving it to them, and it was literally just currency. Now pay close attention to all these different portraits and just the quality of them, because when we get to like his like art, like his like best portrait of all time, I want you to see it, because like it's of the postman, who really did sit for him, and he's such a character. And like I think he was very taken aback and like it was a huge compliment to him when Van Gogh took interest in him and wanted him to sit. Like a lot of the times you'll see people they didn't want to sit for Van Gogh. They're like, oh, this annoying man who's going to make a shitty painting I have to be here for, you know. Tupac versus Biggie rivalry in art history. Let me think about that. I'd say probably Matisse and Picasso. They Matisse and Picasso had a huge rivalry all throughout their life, and Matisse is even quoted as saying, "The only person who I deem worthy to judge my work is Picasso, and vice versa." Like they created that rivalry between them, and they were collected by the same people, like the Coen sisters, and that was around the time when it was really art started to shift and the collectors started to shift towards America. No, Picasso and Dali weren't even in the same league. I mean, people will say Picasso did like surrealist work. I think that's bullshit. And it's surrealism has been so like overwhelmingly archetyped by the melting clocks of Dali that like it's just, you know, kind of pointless. And this is nice. Look at this. So minimal. Such a nice ass. I mean, of course they did have, like, you know, Picasso was a little bit before Dali, but they operated during the same time. And I know Picasso just kind of like was like like pushed off Dali like some just, you know, kid, younger dude who was making weird paintings that were not the right way to paint. No, they certainly had a relationship, of course. They were two titans of the art world, but I wouldn't call it a rivalry, more than just an awareness, a peaked awareness of one another. So many paintings. He would really do like almost one a day towards the end. And he only ever sold one for, I think it was 300 francs. Right towards the end of his life, he sold his first painting. So, did he kill himself? I think not. See, this is a nice one. It is a theory that this is one of his friends, Auvers, which is where he ended up dying. And there is a theory that he was actually the one who shot Van Gogh. And I think that in the movie, the movie where it's all painted frames, called Loving Vincent, I think that they kind of subscribe to that theory, but I can't 100% remember. How do you write a diss track in the form of a painting? Oh, it's easy. Basically, you copy someone else's style entirely to show that you can do it, and then make it into a joke. So completely steal someone's style and then make a fool of them by creating a painting, being like flexing on them like, look, I can do exactly what you can do. It's a joke. You're a joke. But that's just kind of a mean thing to do. Picasso did it a lot, especially with the Brocks and the Cubist movement. He's famously known for saying, "Good artists copy, great artists steal," and he completely stole Cubism from Brocks. Like it's, yeah. What art museum is currently open right now, Gumpy? Hush. This is the baby pictures. Austin has left his trailer. But, whenever people commission me to paint their babies, it's so difficult because a mother, can recognize the face of her blobby baby and be able to be like, that's my blobby baby. But as a portrait painter, you look at it and it's almost like a bunch of water balloons like mushed together. It's just, their features are so like early, like they haven't developed very much at all. So painting babies is one of the most difficult things, actually, in my opinion. Red Dead Redemption 2 is what made me... Oh, dude, hold on. Go back to... Look at that. Look at this here. Would you believe it? I think this might even be a reference to Annibale Carracci, who was an Italian... he would make silly sunsets. And then you can't help but see a sad church right here, kind of blocking that sunset here. There's even almost like an arrow. The architecture points towards the sunset and it's smiling, but then here, this man-made blue structure solemnly blocks the happiness of the natural light. Yeah, I should start to do that. You're right, Morgan Flo. I see. I love that portrait actually too. Yeah, it's a reference to the Teletubbies. I'm chilling, man. My voice is hoarse from yelling at Matisse, amongst other things. Hey, look at this. He did a lot of studies, anatomical studies of busts, in his time spent in Paris, and I feel as though some of them are really remarkably beautiful. Look at this. Once again, creating this contemporary abstractions simply through what is actually there. Like, is this grain? This is some sort of grass, and he's just looking at it. The gesture repeats itself over and over and over again. There's no composition. There's really no content other than this repeated form and this body of color. So good. I would say Absinthe and the wormwood that was contained in it certainly probably played a part in his life, which then in turn reflected upon his work, but I don't know how big of a part. So I'm gonna wait until once we get to the mailman portrait. I'll stop there because I'm kind of hungry. I'm gonna grab some dinner, but I just wanted to have do a little Saturday stream, say hello. I don't know when that portrait will come up. Van Gogh did so much freaking work. You don't have to be an expert on art criticism, Jordy. I mean, just, there's so many reasons why he's the greatest, but unfortunately, I'm trying not to work my voice up too much. In fact, I should probably stop speaking right now. I need to find, because I'm going to need to have a conversation later on with somebody. Oh, there we go. Look at this. So good. And he did several, actually, of the mailman. The post. See, I won't lie. Some form of black and green can create anything. Black and green are the real primary colors to me. I don't know what I'm going to have for dinner. That is to be determined. I'll probably just walk down the street. Maybe I'll go to Get some pad thai. That could be nice. Word. All right, y'all. Well, I'm going to go grab some food, but it's always lovely hanging out and having a fun little educational stream every once in a while. So make sure to like the stream, and I'll see you guys next time. Later, y'all.